Okay, let's dive right into Amos chapter 8 today. It kicks off with this vision, right? A basket of ripe fruit. Seems straightforward, but what's it actually pointing to here?
Well, it's interesting because the text doesn't leave much room for guessing. Amos sees the fruit, and the message from the Lord is immediate. The time is ripe for my people Israel.
Ripe for what, though?
Ripe for judgment, basically.
Mm.
It means the end has come, the moment for reckoning, and it adds very clearly, I will spare them no longer. So no more delays.
Okay, the time is up. And the chapter then really lays out why, doesn't it? It talks about people trampling the needy and doing away with the poor of the land.
Exactly. And it gets specific about how they're doing it. It paints this picture of merchants who were just, well, impatient for religious days like the new moon or the Sabbath to be over.
Not because they're eager for rest, but
No, not at all. So that they can get back to business, to sell grain and market wheat. Their focus is completely on commerce, even during times meant for, reflection or rest.
and it wasn't honest commerce either. The text lists things like skimping the measure
Uh-huh.
and boosting the price.
And cheating with dishonest scales. It sounds like systematic exploitation.
It absolutely does. And the severity is pretty shocking. It says they were buying the poor with silver. Think about that.
Yeah.
And the needy for just a pair of sandals. I mean, valuing a human life at less than cheap footwear. It's brutal.
Wow.
And it even mentions selling the sweepings with the wheat. So they're mixing trash, literal refuse, into the food supply just to make a tiny bit more profit, right?
What? Yeah.
And the text underscores the gravity. It says, the Lord swears by the pride of Jacob, basically, by his own divine power, that he will never forget anything they have done. It's serious.
So, okay, judgment is coming. It's deserved according to the text.
Huh.
What does that judgment look like? It sounds like it's not subtle.
Not subtle at all. The immediate consequences described are incredibly stark. It says, the songs in the temple will turn to wailing.
So places of joy become places of grief. Exactly. And then many, many bodies flung everywhere. Silence. Just this image of mass death and a chilling quiet afterwards.
And it goes beyond just human loss, right? There's mention of the natural world reacting.
Yes, that's right. It talks about the land itself trembling, rising, and sinking like the Nile River, almost like nature itself is convulsing because of the injustice.
And cosmic signs, too.
Uh-huh. The sun going down at noon, the earth darkening in broad daylight, midday turning pitch black. It's like the fundamental order of creation is being disrupted.
And this disruption filters down into their everyday religious and cultural life, too, it seems.
Definitely. Feasts become mourning. Singing turns into weeping. People will wear sackcloth, shave their heads, traditional signs of deep grief.
The text says it will be like mourning for an only son. That really drives home the intensity of the sorrow. A bitter day, it calls it.
A very bitter day. But then, amidst all this physical destruction and mourning, the text introduces another kind of consequence, a different sort of famine.
Right, this is a crucial part. It says a famine is coming, but it explicitly states it's not a famine of food or drink.
Yeah, not for bread, not for water.
So what is it a famine of?
It's a famine of hearing the words of the Lord.
Wow. Okay, so the lack isn't physical sustenance, but spiritual or maybe guidance.
Precisely. It describes people desperately searching for that connection, for that word. They're staggering from sea to sea, wandering from north to east, actively looking for the word of the Lord.
But they can't find it.
They cannot find it. And the text says even the most vibrant, the lovely young women and strong young men will faint from this thirst, a thirst for guidance, for truth that goes unquenched.
And the chapter connects this inability to find the word back to their previous choices, doesn't it? It mentions those who relied on other things.
It does. It talks about those who swear by the shame of Samaria or invoke the gods associated with Dan or Beersheba, basically, those who put their trust in idols or false securities.
And their fate.
The text is final. They will fall, never to rise again. Those alternative sources completely fail them in this time of need.
So the social breakdown, the exploitation, it leads not just to physical disaster, but to this spiritual void, this inability to find guidance when it's needed most.
That seems to be the core message, yeah. The injustice and the turning away from the divine are linked, and the ultimate consequence described here is being cut off from that source of truth itself.
So thinking about all this, what really stands out to you from this chapter?
For me, it's that stark link between how we treat each other, especially the vulnerable, and our connection to something deeper, call it spiritual health or access to truth. The chapter paints this picture where social corruption ultimately leads to a kind of spiritual starvation.
That's powerful. And maybe building on that idea, that famine of hearing words, here's something to think about. What does it mean for us today, maybe as a society or even just personally, if our access to real guidance, to truth, becomes compromised or lost? What are we really searching for, and where do we think we can genuinely find it?